To help you understand that dose is a measure of exposure that accounts for body size, remember the example of the young girl and her grandfather who both drank a large coffee. They had exactly the same exposure of caffeine, 360 milligrams. If you asked them to rate, on a scale of 1 to 10, how jittery the coffee made them feel, the girl might say 9, and her grandfather might say 1. But if you compare the doses that each of them received, Grandpa only got a 3.0 milligrams per kilogram dose, while the girl got a 10 milligrams per kilogram dose. The difference in their responses to the caffeine reflect the difference in their doses of caffeine. If we examined other doses and asked test subjects to report their responses, we would observe a curve that looks like this one. The biological response to a chemical depends not on exposure, but on dose. This graph is a good example of a dose-response curve, a very important analytical tool in toxicology. Dose-response curves can be used to plot the results of many kinds of experiments. The x-axis represents the dose of a chemical, which can be a poison, a dietary supplement, a hormone, or a drug, in this case aspirin. The y-axis represents the response, which could be almost any biological effect. In this case, we are going to examine both the proportion of subjects who report a beneficial effect and the proportion of subjects who report a negative effect. Determining the relationship between dose and response is central to deciding what is safe and what is hazardous. Regulatory agencies rely on dose-response analyses in order to set targets for acceptable levels of pollutants, safe dosages for drugs, and so on. Pharmacology is the study of drugs, and toxicology is the study of poisons. Both fields of study are very closely related because both are concerned with the biological response, whether beneficial or harmful, to a particular dose of a wide variety of chemicals. The relationship between dose and response is the central concept of both toxicology and pharmacology. In summary, whether something is good for you or bad for you depends on how big a dose you get. Toxicologists often represent this insight with the phrase, "the poison is the dose." In subsequent activities, you will see that the dose-response curve depends heavily on what response you measure.